foundation upon which the rest of the case, the rest of the case sits. So if the house is built on a shaky foundation, the house falls. But again, that's the foundation. That's their case. That's not our case. That's the government's case. That's what the information that they have provided. So that's a better question for them.
Do you think the House has a basis to expel him, Mr. Henderson?
I'm sorry, say it again?
The convictions of the informant?
Same reaction that you all have. It's not what they presented to the judge.
Do you think the House has a basis to expel Mr. Henderson or Mr. Smith on the basis?
I think it's much bigger than Representative Smith. I think that democracy requires all of us to not rush to judgment, to get the information, to learn, and then to act, as opposed to acting hastily. And I don't think that's a standard that goes just to Representative Smith. That should be to everybody, including Senator Ted Stevens, which we made reference to. We got to remember that we're here in the land of Lincoln, and it's critical for us as citizens to make sure that the government works the proper way. That's one step at a time, one day at a time. The government lawyers put their pants on one leg at a time, just like the rest of us do. They're susceptible to being dishonest. They're susceptible to making mistakes. They're susceptible sometimes to not doing the right thing. That holds true for all of us. The Bible says that we all have feet of clay, and that includes the lawyers of the government. So right now, the representative enjoys the presumption of innocence, and that's the position from which we should start.
But he can't be expelled. I mean, that is the penalty.
Those rules apply for everybody who sit in the House. So the representative lives under the same rules that apply to every other representative who's here.
Can you describe what Representative Smith's doing now to fulfill his obligations?
He's working as hard now as he ever has. If not, maybe he's working even harder, because the people who are in his district have to deal with not having jobs. The people in his district have to deal with not having health care. You heard him say they didn't abandon him when it was time for him to be voted in during the primary, and he's not going to turn their backs on him.
Is he going to the office every day?
Yeah, he's going to work every day. He's here now.
Don't his residents deserve somebody, a legislator who isn't weakened? I mean, he's not carrying any major legislation. People have called for him to step down from his committees. Don't his residents deserve to have a representative who isn't in this weakened state?
Everybody, whether you're a dentist, you're a news reporter, or a lawyer, you're going to have good days and bad days. And the test of a man is when he has a back up against the wall that shows us. Jesus, Martin Luther King, Nelson Mandela, they all had bad days and they all persevered. And so Representative Smith, in the line of a lot of great men before him, you don't really understand what a man is made of until he's tested. And I think that there are a whole lot of people who admire him to be able to stand up like he has, as opposed to Kagan. That speaks to his character, and I think that's what the people in the district saw when they elected him months ago, and that's who the people in the district have now.
But
so they should be proud.
Why hasn't he resigned at this point, though? I mean, to follow up on Amanda, why hasn't he resigned?
Because he's innocent. I wouldn't use any word other than to say all of us as citizens in a democracy have an interest in seeing that the process is fair for all of us. Each and every one of us deserves to have a fair process, an open process, a transparent process that we all believe in, especially standing here in Springfield. If we don't believe in democracy here, we're not going to believe in it anywhere. So, one last question.
Obviously the party leaders admit, look, they pushed for him because they didn't want the alternative, but now they want an alternative. And they knew of, obviously, the bribery charge in advance of the election. And they were saying, hey, look, they were still pushing, and even without faith, because they wanted to knock out the opponent, not because they had exact faith in him regarding the charges.
That's a political question I can't answer. We're here as lawyers to work on the democratic side of the democracy aspect of it. And again, he's innocent until proven guilty. We commend him for standing strong. People in his district are happy with his job he's been doing. And sent him here to do the job that he has.
But you didn't deny that he took